Plenty of bad stuff can happen to you in Final Fantasy. You'll be beaten, battered, and bruised. Sometimes you'll be barely hanging on, out of MP, crawling your poisoned ass back to the exit, praying your evasion holds strong so you can survive a moment longer and escape. Longing for that warm bed and hot meal, shake off the last dungeon's dust, try to wash away the pungent stench. What could make these journeys easier? A big old bag of ointments, panaceas, salves, tinctures, tonics, creams, oils, and potions. You're going to need some gil to keep up on a steady supply of Final Fantasy drugs. You'll end up using a lot of them. These are purchased from towns that have an item shop, signified by a teapot icon above the door. All the item shops have the same menu and an infinite amount of items. Most of the items in the game are purchased here, but there are some that are only dropped off enemies, found in chests, or other ways. We will go over these a little later. All the items in the shop have a description, but some of them are still pretty vague. I'll shed some light on these and give you some tips on what items you should stock up on. Talk to the NPC behind the counter and we could take a look at what's for sale. First, we have the standard healing items. Potions restore 50 HP, and high potions restore 150 HP. I suggest keeping a hearty stack of potions on you at all times. Start off with the regular ones until your max HP increases a bit, then start using the high potions. These stay useful throughout the entirety of the game, so they're never a bad purchase. The max HP in Final Fantasy is 999, so eventually potions become less useful in battle since they won't heal enough to justify using an entire turn. But outside of battle, you can just spam them until you're all healed up. Next on the list are ethers. They actually restore 1 MP charge per level of magic. The total charges you can have per magic level is 9, so it would take that many ethers to fully heal MP. At 500 gil per ether, these are fairly pricey, and at low levels you won't have that many MP charges. But if you have the spare gil and want to lay everything out with AoE spells, be my guest. I personally skip these early on, but once I have more gil, I will buy a stack for convenience. Now we will look at the Phoenix Down. These are used to revive a KO'd ally in or out of battle. They will be revived at 1 HP, so it can be risky to use these mid-combat. If you choose to use one, and an enemy gets to attack before you get the chance to heal, then you just wasted a Phoenix Down and a turn. At 500 gil each, it is advised not to die all that often, just like in real life. I usually have a couple on me for emergencies. Next we have antidotes. These will remove the poison status effect, which is very detrimental. My advice is to have a lot of these. Anywhere around 10 to 20 is good, since poison is very common in this game. And no one wants to rot to death, and how about that sound? Eye drops will cure darkness in battle, since darkness wears off after the battle ends. Darkness lowers your hit chance, but isn't really that bad. Removing it in combat tends to be ineffective because oftentimes you'll just get debuffed again instantly. I bought 0 of these in my last playthrough and didn't regret it. Save your gil on this one. Echo Grass cures the silence effect. Silence prevents the casting of magic spells, but is pretty uncommon. In the last multiple playthroughs, I've been silenced only a couple times. Echo Grass can only be used in battle, since silence wears off when it's over, meaning it's not that useful. I buy 0 of these and never question it. The chance of becoming silenced at just the perfect moment and failing entirely because of it is astronomically low. In fact, when making my status effect video, it seemed to take forever to actually be silenced, even when specifically trying. Save your gil. Gold Needles will cure the Stone status effect. This is an item you will definitely want. Stone basically KOs the target, and if the entire party is afflicted, it's game over. It doesn't wear off after battle or when resting at an inn, so if you can't remove it, you're kinda screwed. I would say skip them at first until you get the ship, then pick up 10 or so. Remedies cure all status ailments except Stone and KO. So basically, this item can be used to remove Paralyze, Slow, and Sleep. Removing Poison, Dark, or Silence would be a waste, since these can be removed with cheaper items. At the steep 1500 gil, I would say skip the hell out of these. I used them for the making of this video, and that's it. The next 3 items can only be used on the world map. These include the Sleeping Bag, which partially restores your party's HP, the Tent, which partially restores your party's HP and MP, and the Cottage, which will fully restore your party's HP and MP. I would say the Sleeping Bag is meh, since it only restores some of your HP, but if it's all you have, then wrap yourself up and take a snooze. You will want tents at least. They aren't that expensive, and you could use numerous of them in a row to fully restore everything. The cottages are the best since they fully restore everything. Not entirely necessary until much later in the game when you're rich, but eventually these will be the only ones you buy. That covers all the items you can buy from towns, but there are a handful of items you can't. These are either found in chests or dropped from enemies. First, we will talk about the X Potion. These fully restore a target's HP and are dropped from lesser tigers. They spawn in various locations, but the Giant's Cave is a great farming spot. The drop chance is around 4%, so don't expect to get a bunch of these really fast. But if you're just trying to grind XP and gil, head to this cave and potentially get some X Potions along the way. It is nice to have a couple of these on hand for an emergency, but are by no means necessary in a normal playthrough. I've gotten a few of these along the way and I never used a single one. So don't worry about these unless you're a collector and wish to have 99 of everything, or doing a challenge run of some sort. Let me know in the comments if you would like to see videos of me doing various challenge runs. Nextly, we have the Dry Ether. These restore 5 MP charges to each magic level and are extremely rare. Only 3 existing in the entire game. 1 in the Dragon Caves, 1 in the Chaos Shrine in the past, and 1 drops from the first Lich boss. These are more of a novelty since you won't get enough of them to use regularly. And if you're like all RPG players, you'll save all your items until you desperately need them, resulting in you beating the game with a bunch of items you didn't really need to save. And now the Elixir. This fully restores the target's HP and MP. You can find 2 in chests in the Dragon Caves and the Chaos Shrine in the past. This can also drop off of Death Eye with a 1% drop rate. Gross. There is a fixed encounter with a single Death Eye on the 3rd floor of the Chaos Shrine in the past. It's placed at a pretty convenient spot to farm, but that drop rate is hideous. Also, the Death Eye can be found on Basement 5 of the same dungeon as a random encounter. Somewhat of a novelty, but feel free to farm some if you'd like to torture yourself. One more thing, there are some special items that can be purchased, but not from regular shops. You'll have to question your own morality and potentially your own mortality. You'll lurk in the dark recesses of the most obscure back alleys under the cover of night, dealing with merchants of questionable disposition. Or you could just head to this secret shop in the desert. Once you buy the key item from the merchant, you can return and purchase some special items. The Giant's Tonic will increase max HP by 200. These can also drop from Tyrannosaurus with a 1% drop rate. A good place to find them is in the Yonikerm Desert. The Strength Tonic will increase attack and can also be dropped from Allosaurus with a 1% drop chance. These are also found in the same desert. The Protect Drink will increase defense, and the Speed Drink will increase agility. I'm not sure on the amounts they increase since I can't find this information anywhere on the internet, so sorry. These can only be used in battle and are not that expensive. I suggest buying some Strength Tonics and Speed Drinks at least to help buff yourself during the harder fights, especially if you don't have any mages. That covers all the consumable items in the game. Make sure you stock up before you head out on your next adventure. Take care, please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.